Hey, it's Liam Killen, and I'm back with the cutest synth in the game, the OPZ. Today we're going to be focusing on the performance and master functions, which are a great way to really polish up your tracks after you're done composing them. And as you can see, I'm using the iPhone as a screen here. I know in the past I've been sort of against using an external screen, but for today's purposes, it's just really nice to have that extra visual to see exactly what we're doing. The screen actually really does come in handy, and I'm starting to use it more and more as I get more familiar with the OPZ. The app works with iPhones, iPads, and also Androids, and it's free. In fact, here, I'll restart here. I'll show you how to set it up. So this right here, that's what the app looks like. You click on it. So it's super simple. When you turn the app on, it tells you to push the button on the back of the OPZ. So that's this here. Turns blue. The next thing you do is scan. Make sure that your Bluetooth is on, and then you press OPZ, input output, connected, and that's it. After connecting, it'll stay on this page until you press something on the instrument. So let's say kick. So now you're on the kick page, but we're heading to performance. So that's this guy right here. Let's take a look at the track we'll be working on today. This track has already been through composed, and usually I do like a walkthrough of how I make my beats, but today I'm just going to be focusing on the performance function. So that's track button, this guy right here, and also the master track function. So that's up there on the screen. So let's do it. I'm already on the performance page here, so that's great. And the functions are split in between melodic and percussive. So from this F to this E, that affects the percussion, and from this F to this E, that affects melodic instruments. To start off with, I'll just play the track and run through each of the functions just to see what they sound like. From what I've gathered through experimenting with these functions, it's really just about finding the ones that work for you and really just knowing how each of the functions react to different tracks and also to different instruments. Practice makes perfect. So I'll show you a few of my go-tos. We'll start with the drums. Dropping out the drums is a super effective way to propel yourself from one section to another. I'll show you what I mean. Simple and effective. One combo that really stands out to me for drums is pitch and random, pitch, fill, pitch, the other fill. Basically any fill plus pitch is really juicy. Let's try that. Pitch plus echo is another great one for like a dropout sort of fill. If you're working with like a really short loop like this, the key is to finding combos that add dynamics and motion to your drums, or to your melodic instruments as well. And on the OPZ, the performance functions are one of the best ways of doing that. It's just the best way to keep it interesting. Let's move on to melodic instruments. So once again, that's from this F to this E. Duck out, I don't really use that often for melodic instruments. I usually keep that to the drums. So let's skip that one. Loop is a really cool way to loop one phrase. In the case of this track, it works really well. So let's try that. I really like how the bass just stays on that one chord. It's a really great way to build tension and then once you go to the original chord progression, it's like a release. Filter sweep is really cool to use on both melodic and drums at the same time. We could take a look at echo and fill, so that's these two here. In the case of this track, it's a little bit weird. Echo, for some reason, it adds like a weird note that never existed in the track. I never added that there. And then fill. That's one problem with melodic fills, is that usually the fill only happens in the bass and not the rest of the instruments. So it could be a little bit blocky. And then we have short and long, that's these two here. This is another one that really works well when both melodic and drums are being affected by it. And the last melodic one we'll look at is random. That's the thing about random, is that you're kind of taking a risk. It's hit or miss. Sometimes it lands on wrong notes, and sometimes it's magic. It lands on the best notes and it really elevates the track, but it's at your own risk. If you want to see these effects in action, stick around to the end of the video because I'll be playing out on the original track. And now we'll move on to master effects. This is super simple to use. To access it, you press the second button up top here. I guess this is the mix or master button. And then up here you have drum group, synth group, punch, master. So drum group is controlled by the green knob, synth group, blue knob, punch, yellow knob, master, red knob. So now you just have that extra control over the mix. So if you want to bring the drums down, you could do that. The next thing you have is punch, so once again the yellow knob. This basically just accents the transients of the track, so if you have like heavy drums, those are going to be accented. Let's tweak this and see what effect it has on the track. If you turn the punch up to max, you'll notice that the drums are much more up front, and it kind of chokes the rest of the instruments. Like the melodic stuff becomes a lot more in the background. Whereas if you turn the punch down to 0, it's kind of the opposite. The synths and melodic instruments become much more up front and the drums go back. Personally, I'm a drummer, so I like drums to be up front. I'm gonna max out that punch. Like that, it might be too much, but it's an option if you want to use it. I'm going to leave it there for now. And lastly, you have the red knob, which is the master volume. Let's play with that. That's very simple. Obviously, it just raises the volume of the master. Usually I like to push it just high enough so that it's not peaking. You'll notice that if it's too high, the light here will turn red when the drums hit. Check it out. So I like to have it just a little bit lower than peaking, basically. At least for this track, because the drums are hitting, I want it to be very upfront. So it's great to have a master function like this because you just have more control over the overall mix. Just like everything else, it's about experimenting and finding the tones that you like. So yeah, I encourage you to mess around with that. And yeah, I think that's all I've got for you today. I'd just like to thank you all for watching. Hopefully this gave you some insight on the performance and master functions on the OPZ. It's been a pleasure. If you're into this sort of content, please make sure to like and subscribe. It'd be great to have you on board. I'm super happy with how this channel's going, and I see new people joining every day. And it just makes me happy. I'm really happy that you guys are here, and I welcome you. Thank you guys for your support, and I'll play you out on the original track. See you guys in the next video.